Hey everybody, my name is Steve Such. I play drums for Rock of Ages. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 tips for getting the best in-ear monitor mix. So let's go back in the drum booth and we'll talk a little bit more. Tip number 1 is to make sure that you have a perfect seal in your ears. With these Shure 535s, they come with several different filter sizes. As you can see, I have this one. This is actually the one with 2 dots on it. Shure makes one with 1 dot, which is smaller, 2 dots, and then there's 3 dots that's kind of a bigger fit. They also have several other filters. There's like a yellow one and a white one and some gray ones. The key is definitely to find the perfect fit for your ears, and it's really easy to do that. These filters change out very easily. You just twist them off and they come right off. But what I would do is just listen to a song on your phone or on your laptop or something like that, and just compare the same song with different filters. You will definitely notice a difference when you have the perfect filter, because when you have perfect seal to your ears, all the low end is present. As soon as you have some sort of a gap in your ears, a lot of the low end goes away. So make sure that you have a proper fitting seal. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you use panning in your mix. This is so crucial. When I first started out, I had everything dead center and it was pretty rough actually. But as soon as I started exploring with panning, that completely changed everything. Now with Rock of Ages, I'm really lucky because I have this mixer with me. It's right next to me. I don't have to ask anyone for certain levels or anything like that. I can do it all myself, which actually has been nice because I can kind of experiment with my mix, you know, as much as I'd like to. I don't have to yell like, hey, can I have more bass or whatever. What I've found is getting panning set up is so crucial because it gives you a realistic sound, especially on your kit. You know, ask your sound engineer if he can pan your toms, if he can pan your overhead mics. I have one in the center and then I have one to the right for this particular gig because all my cymbals are over here to the right. I make sure that I pan my mix accordingly. And it makes a huge difference to be able to hear my hi-hats on my left ear and my floor tom on my right ear. It makes a huge difference. So make sure when you talk to your sound engineer that you explain exactly how you'd like things panned. And don't be afraid to tell him, like, can you pan it a little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the right? You want to make sure that you have a realistic sound. Tip number 3 is to utilize your overheads. This is a personal tip. I don't know if this would work for everyone, but what I found was as soon as I started turning down the direct signals of like kick and snare, and instead relied on my overheads for more of that for more of that ambient sound, that was the sound that I actually preferred. One thing that people kind of complain about with in-ear monitors is that it's not a natural sound, that you kind of feel like you're isolated in a box because you can't hear what's going on outside. So a lot of the kind of overtones and ambient noise kind of goes away. So again, this is a way that I combat that. I combat that by utilizing my overheads, and it gives me a much more natural sound. Tip number 4 is to use reverb in your mix. When I first started using in-ear monitors, I really had trouble getting a sound that I actually enjoyed. And what I actually did was I reached out to Nate Morton from The Voice, and I said, hey man, like, I'm using in-ears for the first time, playing Rock of Ages. I'm feeling a little bit lost because I'm trying everything I can do with my mixer, but I'm not able to get you know, a natural sounding mix. And he basically said, one word answer: reverb. So make sure that you use reverb. I started experimenting with that with my snare drum, a little bit with kick, and it makes a humongous difference when you have reverb, because again, you're trying to get the drums to sound as natural as possible in your ears. You don't get to hear all the overtones because you have a perfect seal in your ears, so you can't hear all those overtones. So definitely use reverb. Tip number 5 is to keep things low in your mix. What I mean by that is when I first started with Rock of Ages, I had everything blaring, and all that does is it makes you feel like you have to play louder. And it's not a really healthy thing. So for me, I give priority to 2 things: the click track and the bass. And I guess the third thing would be myself. That was a huge mistake I actually made, was that I When I first started using in-ears, I cranked everyone else, but I barely gave myself any of my own microphones, and that was a huge mistake. So I kind of flipped that. I turned everyone down, I turned myself up, and I make sure the click is loud enough for me to hear it, and I find that things go much smoother when you have that.